What's going on? And welcome back to the A Show, the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm Justin, here with Meelz. What's up, Meelz?
You definitely like petered off towards the end of that.
I'm exhausted.
I bet. I bet. What a night. What a day. What a weekend. What an experience, huh? Who knew wrestling would take you out like that?
I was already feeling a little wonky. Weather's been crazy. Weather's been up and down. So when the weather changes, like I get sick immediately.
No,
So
for sure. It's about that time of the year. I wanted to say it yesterday, but I didn't want to sound insensitive.
so it was like heat wave here, then it's back to like 70 degrees, right? Yesterday it's back to 90 degrees, and then I have to go to Ontario, which is in the IE, which if you don't know, that's like the desert basically, and it's
Mm.
94 degrees there, and we haven't had anything hot like that in like 2 weeks. So it's back to the heat. Then it's 70, 60 degrees because in the desert it gets cold at night. So yeah, it's been a lot. It's been back and forth.
Listen, man. I can only if it just I'll definitely what I'll say. I don't know. We can go through the show quickly. We can take our time. It's all up to you. If you're feeling under the weather,
It's fine. I got coffee coming in because I also took. You know what? I always overdo it. I took 2 Tylenol PMs last night because I was like, I don't even want to feel anymore.
nice
I was like,
future
I don't want to feel anymore.
on
And
your damn Juice World. That's a bad joke.
all girls are the same. And I fucking went right to sleep. Woke up. I'm still groggy. I don't know if I'm sick or I don't know if it's the PMs. I know somebody's like, why would you take 2? I thought you were supposed to take 2.
I take two. I mean, I don't take Tylenol PM. I take extra strength Tylenol.
But I don't
Um.
I don't take meds usually. So I came home, I cranked an emergency, I ate some pozole, which is like some exquisite Mexican soup. It's amazing. I made that on Sunday.
Uh-huh.
Then I like did all that, emergency soup, mad water when I got home. I took a zinc pill yesterday. I chewed some gummies,
Zinc is expensive. Oh, sorry. I'm thinking Zyrtec.
Zyrtec, and then I took the PMs and I said, "All right, y'all, I'll see y'all later." And then I slept for like 12 hours.
Good for you. You know what? Fuck that. Good for you. At least you got to experience wrestling. You got a nice little PM sleep. All that stuff like that, man.
Well, the thing is, and everyone sees it now, the Netflix thing was completely last minute. So I have a very close homegirl. She's the best homegirl in the world. I know she looks back at all her placements, her influencer placements and stuff. So I'm pretty sure she's gonna be listening to this. But um, I was asked on behalf of RNC in general, that's Black Print, A Show, everything under the sun, to go to a special preview event for Netflix and WWE. Really cool little thing they had out in Ontario. It's like about an hour drive for me, so I took the drive out to Ontario to go to Monday Night Raw last night, and I learned about this on like Friday. So I had a couple of days to be like, oh, do I want to do it or not? And me and Josh Pease went. Josh, let me tell you, he's like a kid when
Of
you go.
course.
He's like a kid when you go to these things, and he's like, I'm having to tell him, oh, we're in a commercial break right now because he's like, his eyes are bright, and when you do a TV taping, they cut the lights down on the
Yeah,
commercial,
yeah, yeah. Of course.
so he's confused, like Sammy comes out and the music's playing, then the
The
lights.
lights go off. And he's like, "What happened to the show?"
I was like, they're in commercial break.
And then
And
Sammy's music comes back on after the commercial break, and he's like, "Oh, just it's back on."
so like the funny part is that like I can't tell anymore at TV tapings when you guys go to commercial because they roll everything now, because sometimes they might put the matches on YouTube or they might use it for B-roll or
Right.
they might do PIP. So I couldn't tell last night when you guys were seeing commercials or what you guys were seeing and what you guys weren't seeing.
Usually look at if I know we're on commercial, I usually look at the commentators. The commentators usually aren't saying anything. Like last time I went to a WWE show, Michael Cole was like, you knew it was on commercial because he was like stretched back, not doing shit on his phone, fucking around. And then as soon as it was ready to come back, he's like, and we're back with, da 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 da.
Yeah.
So I
Like,
usually use those as indicators.
and when I would go to Raws in the past, I would know that it was commercial because the cameraman would just put the camera down. Like,
Right, right, right.
would be
When's
a
the last time you've been to a weekly show?
oh my god, it was it had to be SmackDown. First SmackDown on Fox in
No,
2018.
I feel like wait, no, it was that last show you went to.
Oh, it was NXT, wasn't it?
No, 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 no. I think it was, and I know it because it's a funny situation, right?
Oh no,
So you
it was
you got me the shirt,
yeah, yeah, it was SmackDown. I'm bugging. You're right.
but
Roman wasn't there.
Roman wasn't there, so you was sick. You were like, "What the fuck is this?" And they had you out there with, because I remember you told me some story about Mansoor and something like that.
Yeah.
Um, but they had the shirt, right? And they were selling these like exclusive T-shirts and stuff like that. And I remember that so much. You know why I remember the time around that?
Why?
Because Jeff Hardy got released days before that.
Oh, he was on the shirt. Yeah.
But he was on the shirt. So they're like, they pull it. They're like, at first, they're showing the shirt, and then they pull the shirt, and then they put like a graphic over the Jeff Hardy part of it to essentially be like, yeah, it's still cop the exclusive thing. But he's clearly on the fucking shirt.
Yeah. It was the last, and Cesaro's on the shirt too, I think. It was the last it was the last Staples Center uh WWE show in general, just period. It was the last
That's
one of those. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I remember that shit. So yeah, so they used to put the cameras down. Like they just don't even they don't record. Now they do.
hmm
And I was just like, oh, okay, so they keep it on there. There's just again, it's a fucking it's a well-oiled machine. Like when Ray came out during the LWO match, Josh was like, I heard them talking about clear out. I heard him say clear out. And I was like, yes, they do that, but you probably should just pay attention so you don't have the surprises and ruin for you. Because we're like on hard camera side. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah. So you don't see, yeah, we're not gonna see you on
yeah,
that side.
you're not gonna see me. But I was maybe 3 rows back on the hard camera side.
You
So
were in the family. You were in the family and friends and important people section. The
yeah,
section I've wanted to be in for a very, very long time. And when I do get the tickets, they always put me in the section right above those. And it's still great. You're still with family and friends of the people, but it's not like I want to be on the floor. You know what I'm saying? I've never
yeah,
been on the floor in the row and see everything up close and get to take all the good pictures and stuff like that. So that's what I'm trying to do. Shout
yeah.
out to either Roman or Ray, whoever that was in the background.
It's Roman. That's my Dunkin' is here. My Dunkin' Donuts is here. So
Do your
uh
thing.
I'm gonna no, we're gonna keep it rolling because you know what I'm not gonna do today? Heavy editing of the show.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no, that's what I was saying. Like, go ahead. Do if you need to get the door. Are you carrying us to the door? What are you doing?
I'm gonna run. I need you to talk about this quote from Darby Allin saying that WWE is Taylor Swift and they are a player. And then
I got something else I want to talk about beforehand, but I'm gonna wait for you to come back. But I'm gonna talk about that really, really quickly.
all right,
Um,
2 seconds.
but so I got some other non wrestling stuff to talk about, just really, really quickly. But this Darby Allin quote is so fucking funny because it is so. It's like, what is he? 13 years old. So in Busted Open Radio, as they're assuming they're promoting AEW Grand Slam, which is in New York City this week. Um, it says Darby Allin used the music analogy to compare WWE and AEW. It says, if people are going to compare the two companies, WWE and AEW, I like to put it as a music reference. WWE is like Taylor Swift, and AEW is like Slayer. Taylor Swift can sell more records, but that doesn't mean Slayer doesn't have a huge following. Our brand of music is a little more intense and violent, and we don't have to change anything. We don't have to try and sell the same records as Taylor Swift. We're kind of in our own world. That's what I like to compare these things to. You can watch All Out, and it can be a little offensive, but I live to offend people. And I was like,
But you know what I was like? I am the storm.
I was like, what? Slayer? What are you, 12? No offense. Not that Slayer's like for 12-year-olds, but it's like, comparing Taylor Swift, like they're Taylor Swift and
But
we're
saying that in a pejorative manner as if that's a bad thing, like, it's
right.
funny to me.
Taylor Swift is whatever. I'm gonna get into the specifics of Taylor Swift, but what? And y'all Slayer?
I
I
don't know, guys. I feel like Slayer was also signed to a major label. I don't know. I just
sh- it's I don't know. I don't know. I had a non wrestling thing
okay.
really quickly
All right.
to get into, and I know we've beat this Diddy thing with a horse for so long, like beat this Diddy thing for like a week and change now, and you talk about it on multiple podcasts. What I wanted to talk about, if I was on last week, is the fact that his bond is $50 million.
Yeah. That's like a evil. That's like a
That's a super villain bond.
Doctor Evil.
I was like, niggas in One Piece don't have bonds that fucking high. And I was just like, what? So I looked up on this website the 11 bonds that will leave you speechless from criminals, celebrity criminals.
Oh, celebrity.
Uh,
Okay.
well, kind of celebrity criminals. So Diddy's $50 million. I mean, they have an insane amount of bonds paid. I mean, Diddy cannot pay his bond. He's not getting out of jail. It's just not happening.
Yeah, he put his
Um,
house up for collateral. Then he still said no.
no, there was like, no, you will definitely intimidate whatever suspects that we have here. So yes, no. According to this website called All City Bail Bonds, it says the world of bail bonds can be a fascinating one, with some cases truly a massive sums of money. In this list, we will look at 11 of the largest bail bonds in history. By this metric, Diddy would be in one of these, but number one is Robert Durst.
Yes, the guy who had an HBO special and he admitted that he killed someone on the special.
$3 billion
Mhm. Mhm.
is his largest one.
Never seen The Jinx, have you?
No, I haven't. Should
Crazy.
I?
It's like a mini series on HBO, and I told the twist already, but everyone would probably tell you the twist about it. But it is still great, even before he admits that he does it accidentally on camera.
I've been watching Death Note, so that's also funny. The next one is Kim.com. Mega upload Kim.com.
Oh yeah, the guy was giving secrets, giving out American secrets. Uh-huh.
$1 billion for his. So it says that eventually the bail was reduced to 10 million and Freeman was released on bond. He served a 2-year sentence and currently resides in New Zealand. As a owner of Mega Upload should. Mega Upload kept a lot of people. Mega Upload was why is it kept? Well, no, was it that it's just called Mega now?
Yeah, it's
Um,
Megan now. Mhm.
that's where those episodes of The Last Dance leaked. I remember that. I was
Yeah,
like, oh, we
we're unfinished and shit.
yeah, it was awesome. Number three, Jeffrey Epstein, 100 million. Say no more. We know what Jeffrey Epstein's in there for.
And we know what they did to him.
Mhm.
He wasn't safe in or out.
Number number four, Raj. I'm sorry. Well, you're a criminal. Who cares? $100 million. It says in 2009, hedge fund manager Raj was arrested on insider trading charge. He was granted bail in $100 million bond, one of the biggest bond in history. The bond was secured 20 million in cash and 80 million in assets. That's hilarious. Diddy couldn't get that. Um,
But they just don't. They don't want him out.
no,
Like I'm expecting the stuff that gets revealed there to be very heinous. We talk about it on the Black Print this week. It's what we don't know and what we haven't heard yet that is scary in that situation.
Number five, R. Allen Stanford, $100 million. He was arrested on charges of running an $8 billion Ponzi scheme. Um, his bond was secured in assets, including a yacht and several properties in the U.S. and Antigua.
Yeesh.
Um, he was eventually convicted and sentenced to 110 years in prison. And then it drops off to $10 million. So I'm assuming Diddy's like number six currently right now, or he would be number six on this list because it drops down to $10 million. It's for Bernard Madoff, Bernie Madoff, Ponzi scheme, of course. Um, Number seven, unlikely surprise out of nowhere. Michael Jackson, $3 million. He was arrested on charges of child molestation.
Yeah.
Um,
He got out the same day though. He said not guilty and still 50.
he
Just
was
like
like,
he said.
"It's a $3 million bond. Just sell. Just I don't know. Just pass me my purse."
Yeah, get
Um,
Beatles publishing. It's fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Number 8 was Phil Spector at $1 million. Um, he was arrested for the murder of Lana Clarkson, actress Lana Clarkson. Granted bail 1 million, which was the largest ever recorded at the time. He was eventually convicted and sentenced to 19 years to life in prison. He passed away 2021. Number 9, another surprise here. Wesley Snipes, $1 million. Tax
Activasion.
evasion.
Mhm. I remember that.
And he was eventually convicted, sentenced to 3 years in prison, and now he's back to doing movies.
Here's my
Um,
thing. Y'all, if he didn't have the money to pay his taxes, y'all definitely know that nigga don't got the money to pay that. I'm just saying.
nah, that's kind of messed up.
And my wife,
Um, no, you're not.
if he don't got the money to pay his taxes, what make y'all think he got the money to pay y'all? That's like what I tell student loan places, bro. What am I? How am I going to give you something I don't have?
That's your argument, and I fully support that
It
argument.
works every time. If they call you, listen. If they call you, how am I going to give you something I don't have? And they're stuck every time, bro. They don't know what to say.
We'll figure it out. Number 10, O.J. Simpson, $250,000 for the arrest for murder of Nicole
Damn,
Brown, and
if you kill a white woman today,
that's a steep, it's a
yeah,
steep leap, man.
that's triple. The hell?
And speaking of white women, number 11, Martha Stewart, arrested on charges of inside trading.
She didn't deserve all that.
No,
She didn't
she was
deserve.
eventually convicted. I mean, it helped. It seems like it helped her career, to be honest with you. I mean, she could have not been in jail, but 5 months in prison, she was like, okay. Now she out with Snoop and doing all types of other extra shit.
You think that her and Snoop are in like a swinger type situation? You know what? Never mind. Let's move on.
All right.
Let's move on.
But that's what I had to say. Essentially, like, Diddy's on some supervillain type of timing with this case. So I'm interested in seeing how this all kind of ends up. But speaking of supervillains, Vince McMahon.
Yeah, yeah. Vince McMahon. He put out
As you Well, this is true. As you're hearing, if you're hearing this on the free show, today's the day.
yeah.
The documentary's dropping. Um, documentary 6-part series on Netflix. I believe it's all dropping at the same time.
It's all dropping
Um,
at the same time. Yes.
should be available. So we're gonna look at it. So what I assume that we're going to do is we're gonna watch it and then review it next week.
Yeah. God, I gotta
Okay.
watch the whole thing. Ugh. All right.
Yeah,
What else am I doing? It's fine.
yeah. Essentially, we'll figure it out. Vince McMahon put out a statement this week saying that he does not support this Netflix documentary at all. He says, let me look at actually his official statement.
He says he doesn't regret it.
He says, hold on, he dropped it on Twitter. He says, I don't regret participating in this Netflix documentary. The producers had an opportunity to tell an objective story about my life and the incredible business I built, which were equally filled with excitement, drama, fun, and a fair amount of controversy and life lessons. Great way to sweep that under the rug. He was like, it's fun, but also, who doesn't have a lot of controversy when you're at this level of where I'm at? Unfortunately, based on an early partial cut I've seen, this documentary falls short and takes the predictable path of conflating the Mr. McMahon character with my true self, Vince. The title and the promos alone make that evident. Now, I'd seen I mean, I looked at the artwork for this when they dropped it a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, this is kind of intense. This is like, mainly because of the red. And I know Netflix color is red, but it was like, the red was very, very glaring, is that this
Yeah.
would be intense, and this was kind of, and then him puppeteering, and he's the maestro of all the things that's going on in the ring.
Yeah.
It definitely portrays that. And I could see why he'd be like, what the fuck? I thought it was just gonna be the invasion cover.
But at
You know?
the same time, fuck off. Because at the
Yeah,
end of the day, you did all these things. You did
absolutely.
these things. And a lot of people are like, well, what kind of pickle does this put Netflix in? I'm like, none. They're not talking about any of this. It puts them in no pickles. There are no pickles for this. All
Uh,
right.
he says a lot has been misrepresented or left out entirely in an effort to leave viewers intentionally confused. The producers use typical editing tricks without context of footage and dated sound bites to distort the viewer's perception and to support a deceptive narrative. In an attempt to further their misleading account, the producers use a lawsuit based on an affair I ended as evidence that I am, in fact, Mr. McMahon. I hope the viewer will keep an open mind and remember there are two sides to every story. Let me tell you something about your side, Vince McMahon.
Your side, your
I ain't
side,
trying to hear it.
yeah, your side is freaky as fuck, my nigga.
You've
Your
seen the
side,
text. Like,
yeah.
you gross. I don't want to hear that side. I don't want to be on that side. I don't want to hear nothing about it. Um, this might be the first time he's ever like watched a documentary or heard one or through the process of how it made. They
Well,
usually typically,
it can't be the first time because but what was it, beyond the mat. I mean, this can't be the first time he's seen anything like this.
but like obviously editing to craft a narrative. Duh, nigga. What?
What did he
They
think
do
was
this.
gonna happen?
Yeah. Did he think it was gonna be like even A&E documentaries? They cater around that narrative as well. You know, you go through the upbringing, you go through the life, you go through demons, and then you come back out on the other side. And that's pretty much an A&E documentary on for wrestling. But this is probably that on steroids,
Yeah,
literally and figuratively.
I just think
Like,
I think that it is interesting how many people are involved here and what this was before everything. Like obviously, like they thought this would be one way, and things happen the other way. And I think as a documentarian, that is the best thing that can happen to you, right? Where it's like,
mhm.
oh, this is kind of routine. There's some interesting stuff here, but nothing kind of leaning either way. But then this dropped, and it's like, oh shit, we got something now. You know what I mean? And we've seen reports from like I believe Brandon Thurston and put out a report saying that the final episode I think reckons with the case. So you
Mhm.
get a full context of who he is before you even get to this part. And we know that Janelle Grant, the victim in the case, she has no involvement, and she said she put out a statement through her lawyer that they hope that is painted in the light that not just protects the victims, I guess, but also like shows who he really is.
Yeah, it's a to me this documentary. I mean, this has been in the making for quite a long time. Obviously, before even the charges came out. Um, but to see how this kind of like the narrative has essentially began to change. This is probably what they were. I don't know. This is probably like, all right, that revelation of the things that happened. I'm assuming change how they wanted to tell this story after a while, because you can see all the usually with situations like that. And I look to like documentaries, even though this is a little bit more like extreme because this is more about the documentaries for surviving R. Kelly are more about the accounts of things than R. Kelly. But there is a sizable amount of it that's about R. Kelly, which tells a story about how he came up and how he couldn't read and how he was also, assaulted as a child.
Yeah.
And all these other things that eventually build to the story of like how you're telling these things where you get to the accounts of these people. It's just storytelling, which to be honest, he did every week.
Yeah, and not only did he do that every week, but he allowed himself to live in like behind the reign of another character. You like I don't think there's any character more blurred than Vince McMahon. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? The Rock turns it on. John Cena, well, maybe I don't know. He might be the same nigga, but certain people turn it on, they turn it off. You know what I mean? And he's like the original Carney in that sense. And he's trying to say, "Oh, this is the character, and this is my real life." I'm like, I honestly feel like your character might be a little bit less disgusting than the actual man is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we're not getting confused. We're not getting confused, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not what it is, bro. So I don't know. I think that it is interesting that he had to come out and say something like this, which is pretty cut and dry, in my opinion. Wouldn't you say? Like it's pretty cut and dry where people
No,
say
yeah, it is. It's
we're
for
not
sure.
we're not changing our viewpoints here.
No, not at all. I fully expect whatever something in there to go viral at some point, but um it'll be interesting to see who's all involved, what statements they kind of give, all these other things, because there's a myriad of people that's been involved with this documentary. Who knows where they'll be, but we got a bunch of people. Um, what else is on the docket? Well, what else do we want to talk about this week?
Well, this week it's a big show for AEW. AEW has a couple of big shows in the next 2 weeks, and I mean, I'm not gonna say it like, well, I'm gonna say it. This is really a fight for their survival right now. In the next couple,
Mm.
this is really a fight for their survival right now. Can you remember in any recent times, Meelz, a more stacked fall for wrestling in general? Not even just from the WWE side, well, I mean, primarily from WWE side. Like you see that they're loading up a cart for Atlanta, and we're going to talk all about it this week and what they're doing to load up this cart for Bad Blood.
Oh my god, it looks
Which
so good. I'm low key, high key, very jealous. Like I kind of do want to be there. Like
yeah,
really.
it's feeling like an all timer, and with AEW, it's hard to deny that the conversation is like kind of not with them anymore, right? Like it's hard to deny that like there just isn't a lot of palpable like I don't know
Well, I
investment.
yeah, I feel like where they've targeted their investment ends up being a lot more in the TV deal and the contracts more than actual things that are happening on screen.
Yeah, I
So I
mean,
feel because of the all the news and stuff like that, like all the news that's coming out, like everyone's waiting on bated breath, like, what would a TV deal look? What's going to be the future pay-per-views? Where are we going to be this? Who all going to be there by the time this contract comes up? You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
this is kind of like the narrative that's been really pushed over the last number of weeks, whereas the shows is really kind of taking a backseat to all of this.
Yeah, and I mean, we now have a huge week for them where they're going to be doing tapings at Arthur Ashe for Grand Slam, and they have a fifth anniversary episode next week, which we'll talk about next week. I guess we could talk about the 5 year anniversary of AEW next week for sure. But this week, let's just walk through the card. Grand Slam has John Moxley versus Darby Allin for Allen's uh number one.
Number one contender.
You have the Young Bucks versus Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay for the tag titles. You have Mariah May versus Yuka Sakazaki for the women's championship. Hook versus Roderick Strong. And if Brian Danielson is cleared, Brian Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness, which I feel like to me is the most nasty way to promote something like this. Whether whether your core fan base cares or not, if there was someone that wanted to come in and watch this match, right? And they didn't know anything about it, or they wanted to see what the hype was about, why would you keep putting the if there? It's not making anyone tune in. You know what I'm saying? Like he won the title, why would he not be there? You feel me? Like it makes no sense why they're pushing it as if like, oh, he might be there. But I'm like, bro, he's gonna fucking be there. Just say that the match is happening. Just say,
Yeah. I mean, it would have been nothing to hear. Like we've just heard, like as the show's going off air last week, we just heard from Brian Danielson that he will, we just heard from a doctor. You could have a doctor, anyone played a damn doctor. We just heard that he's been officially cleared and will work towards this, or you could have announced it on the internet. Like if you really wanted some sort of viral kind of thing, you could have announced it on the internet and sold a couple more tickets. Now, the show for what it is, for amount of that they're holding is, I think it's about 6,800 people that they're holding. They're
it's
going to
not,
be close.
it's not sold out.
Well, no, it's not sold out yet, but I'm assuming I said this on Twitter earlier today, just based on the general consensus of like New Yorkers, New Yorkers are walking up and seeing how much tickets cost. The tickets that were on sale whenever they went on sale, people are not going to wait for those prices to see this show. And quite frankly, I'm looking at this card and I'm like, what is there really to shake a stick at? Like realistically, do you feel like you're using all of these people in the best way that you could? And the answer is no. I
Yeah.
mean, for Brian Danielson's going to be on the show, which is great, but there's a lot of major people missing on the show. It's weird to me that Ricochet, who will be on the 5th anniversary show, is not on the show for whatever reason. It's weird to me, and I think you said this in Discord, that like with the Will Ospreay thing, it truly does feel like they're siphoning off his popularity to various people on the card
Yes.
to
Yes.
get them over. And I was like, that couldn't be more clear. Like, because why is this happening?
It is very clear to me that there is no established plan to have Ricochet do anything of note for what I would assume Meelz they are paying him right now. Like
Mm.
they're paying him buku bucks in order to make this whole thing work. And if all they have for him, and I'm gonna be real, man, I feel like they're I don't want to get ahead of myself. I feel like they're rushing this Osprey thing. It's clear Osprey and them are not going to win the tag titles, right?
Right.
It's very clear, but it's also clear to me that if this was such a big deal, if it feels like to me, Osprey went online in an interview and said, "I want to wrestle Ricochet again." They signed him, and then it was just almost like they signed him for a one-off. Like that's what it feels like to me because he's had no like direction that did not deal with Will Osprey right now.
Well, right. I feel like in general, AEW does things, and they did this with Christian and Edge too, where I feel like you have the big money match, or at least a big match that you want to cater towards. Why do this so early? Why not build up the narrative of these two stars based on just kind of based within the company itself? Reestablish Ricochet as what he means as an all elite person compared to a WWE person, and then you get to the match, and you're like, oh, you can have them kind of like um, intersect at different points in their thing, but you eventually build up to the match. It's kind of like what they did with Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes at the beginning of 2.0.
Yeah,
They maybe had one interaction and it was super brief, but you knew that this was where the
but
future of 2.0 was heading towards, and they
but it,
saved it for a major show.
but it speaks to like just the way they book things. They book things on the measure or the idea that their fans already know who this guy is. So to your point, they're not looking at it like Ricochet probably needs to get built up to make this Will Ospreay match happen and make it look good. Ricochet to me is coming in. He's beat a couple paint cans and he's automatically facing off the guy that has all the best matches on the company. So Will Ospreay's beating MJF. He's beating Okada. He's beating countless other people. He beat Brian Danielson. He beat countless people this year. And then Ricochet gets here out of nowhere and it's just like, well, you weren't like the biggest star where you came from. So why does he deserve to get this
But
title match?
that's but my the thing about that is also is like that's it's weird because it almost feels like at certain times they're trying to weave that into the narrative of like you weren't you being used well where you were. Let's bring back the old Ricochet of what it was. Ricochet's always good.
And
Like,
he, and also, Ricochet, if you think about it, Ricochet is WWE Ricochet. He was there for 10 years.
yeah, I mean, he was there for a long, long time. Like, it is not to me because that's how I always felt like the narrative was in interviews and things like that. And I felt like they should try a little bit more to escape that narrative. But the idea that he is not who he was before and now he gets to be his true self makes no sense because they're the same thing.
Yes.
Like it's not we're not he can do amazing thing at any time. To be honest with you, he chooses not to do certain amazing things at certain times in WWE because the moment does not call for it. Now every week he's flipping off of something and someone's trying to jump on him off of
Yeah.
something and all this
Yeah.
other shit like that.
You say that.
But
Now that statement makes no sense, right? So, like,
yeah,
I look at this and I know we've gone long on a match that is not happening this week at all, but
no, it's happening next week. But still, it's to me, this is all the indications of like people, jumped in my mentions earlier today because there's a Booker T thing that he said about Adam Cole. It was like, oh, don't worry, Meelz and Booker are WWE bootlickers. I'm not a bootlicker. Like, what do you? I was like, first of all, thanks for listening to the show, but also, I'm not a bootlicker. Like, I'm literally just like these are stories and these are narratives that you can tell. You're kind of playing with people's careers, and you look at certain instances like a Miro. You look at instances like a Malachi Black. You look at certain people that have been on the show, even a Daniel Garcia, who's no longer on the show, and it looks like he may no longer be in the company. And you look at how poorly they've been developed as characters as they went on. And even you look at the biggest stars on their show, Moxley has to really depart from who he is just to make some sort of some sort of note, but he's still kind of who the fuck he is because it's still Blackpool Combat Club. Like it's weird, but like the creative and the lack of development is really what hinders a lot of people in this company from being stars, which in turn hinders people from tuning in, which in turn hinders people from going to this damn show that's in the middle of nowhere in Queens.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like,
Where's the investment? And I think that, like, again, I said this is really a fight for survival. I mean that. Like, I think that TV deal or not, and I guess we have to talk about that too, huh? Because that was kind of revealed a
yeah,
couple days ago that the TV deal is kind of all but done. And Puck News, or me and A Plus talked about it, and we touched on it last week. But it's like, that to me can't be the only thing that they're hanging their hat on, Meelz. It can't be the only thing. It has to be something else going on, or else, like, this is abject failure. And I look at this card and I see the matches are going to be good because all they do there, they're great match merchants. He has a bunch of great match merchants there. That's great. But you look at the next day, or the next taping. This is Collision. This is Collision, Meelz. Beast Mordos versus Hologram versus Dralistico.
for
Conglomerate.
what?
The conglomeration versus the Learning Tree. Okada versus Sammy Guevara. If Guevara loses, he can no longer challenge Okada for the title. And if Guevara wins, he'll receive a match for the title at the So this is an eliminator match.
Yeah, but like also, what calls for this? Sammy Guevara has not been involved with the.
Oh yeah, like, why can he no longer challenge for the title if he doesn't win this match? What did I miss?
I'm so confused. And you look at this card and like who's on it and stuff like that. And I'm like, yo, bro, don't want to sit here for 4 hours on a fucking Wednesday night to watch this shit.
uh, Jamie Hayter versus Saraya in a Saraya rules match. And I was like, what does this mean? The Saraya's rules? You have to say LGBT slurs? Which one is this? What rule
There's
is it?
a People are questioning like, could this be her last match in the company because her contract is coming up, and we haven't heard anything about renewals. We haven't heard anything about anything.
She's been there that long?
Yeah, this is her. She's been here since I think it's 2021.
Damn, bro.
Hold on.
I felt like she.
2022. No, all right. So she debuted 2022. Interesting. So when's her contract up? People were talking about her contract recently. Um, because we heard it was coming up. Let me Google some stuff. Sarai AEW contract. Sarai's current agreement with promotion extends till September with options available. However, the report, yeah, we reported this a while ago. So did she have a 2-year deal? That's funny.
Well, the Saraya rules match. Let's looked at the rules at here. I was wrong. I was way off. The rules
No,
are
the rules are comedy.
the
They're
rules
comedy style.
only Saraya can use weapons, close fist, and not make use of the traditional 10 count and use rope breaks. The winner receives an autographed copy of Saraya's autobiography. Huh?
This is funny style. This is what they've been doing on Hidden on Rampage for like the last like 8 months. Like
And, and
her, don't get me wrong, her and Harley are funny as hell. Like they're funny. But they're just not the Saraya from last year when she was AEW Women's Champion, Women's World Champion, and even the year before that when she debuted at Grand Slam. It has been a steep fall with many branches on the way down.
the branch is slapping her on her booty cheeks, bro.
It has been a steep, and now you look, but then you also look right, like who's missing on this card? You just had Chris Statlander win a major match 2 weeks ago, and where the fuck is
Injured.
she?
She's injured. She's hurt.
She's hurt,
Yeah, she's hurt.
and she won.
Yeah, she's hurt. She's hurt. She's hurt. But even still, to your point, Meelz, Willow can't get on here either. Like, Willow's gone again. She was just. Yeah.
Chris Statlander gonna be in that deal till 2028. They're not. They're locking her up. Listen,
Tony said, "Get it in blood, bitch."
did you hear? The rumors going around considering Pentagon and Phoenix, that one of them their contract is not up, and Tony Khan is not going to. Tony Khan will extend his, or essentially he's extending um, people's contracts if they have for injury to really kind of like I guess stop them from going to WWE, debuting
Yeah.
in WWE.
Well, listen, you remember, that amazing guy on TikTok who's like who sings Triple H's song.
Yes.
It's time to play the Twitter game.
Mm,
Time to get on Twitter and complain because that's the only way that he's gonna let you out that deal is if you tell people he's not a good guy.
well, Miro's trapped in his deal. The thing is,
I don't.
latest reports is Miro.
I don't even
I
know why
care.
I don't even know why he want to leave. Why would you even want to leave? He's not making you come to work. You're on permanent work from home. Why would I want to? Why would I want to do that?
Let me tell you something. Last 2 months of my contract at my old job, I was just at home. It was nice just sitting home and getting paid. But eventually, you gotta want to. I'm assuming he wants to do something for himself. He wants to feel uh, important somewhere. Maybe he wants to try to see what WWE is offering. It's a
Look,
new regime.
I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real, Meelz. I don't think they want him. I think he'd be the one person they don't take back.
I think. All right.
And
So
if they do, it would be a hefty price cut. They would not taking him for the price that he's probably demanding.
have you. Oh yeah, they're gonna have a veterans minimum. But have you heard the rumors that SmackDown may potentially be 3 hours?
Yes.
I if SmackDown's going 3 hours, Raw potentially 3 hours, you're going to need more talent for SmackDown. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty in NXT.
I was just gonna say well, isn't that funny that they have a thing in Orlando that could take care of something like that? Huh,
But
huh.
you might want to
Uh-uh.
hire some people to take some falls. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, you are a bad match merchant.
LA Knight versus Miro, take that fall.
Nah. We're not doing that. We're not
He's like
doing.
LA Knight try to jump up on the rope.
I do not see a world where Miro gets let out of his contract because of just the amount of money that they've kind of set aside, and this goes back to their magical TV deal that's got to pay these guys. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's going to be very tough to do that. And well, let me get to the main event here of Collision Grand Slam. Well, first off, this card is not making anybody want to watch this show, by the way. So
No, I mean I'm not. I don't feel the difference is when WWE's in New York, you know when the fuck they're in New York. Sending Sasha Mercedes to the Breakfast Club or wherever the fuck she went, Angie Martinez show is not is
oh,
not enough for me.
she went to Angie.
I hope not. I don't know. She was at iHeart, so I gotta see. Let me check her thing. She was definitely at iHeart, so it's either Breakfast Club or Angie.
I mean, listen, they got to, they got to do stuff like that. They got to promote any way, any way, shape, or form. They just doesn't feel like a big deal. I feel like that they're doing all this press, and at the
Mercedes
end,
not even on the show. I'm pretty sure. If I had to guess, she's 100% still KO'd from when old girl kicked her in the head twice.
oh, she's not even on the show, huh?
No, she's not. I'm pretty sure she hasn't been on the show for a number of weeks. I don't think she's cleared. If I had to guess, this is off of no suspicion. It's probably not even right. But if I had to guess, she's not cleared because she has not wrestled since Sheeta kicked her in the fucking head.
Oh yeah, we back to 2016 Mercedes.
Oh, she's on the Breakfast Club.
Yeesh. Is it one of them,
She just posed with envy.
oh, it's one of those episodes with Charlemagne not there. It don't matter. Uh,
DJ Envy asking the question. So when you wrestle, does it hurt when you?
so is it like WWE or WW? Which one is it? And again, we're supposed to get to the main event of the show. We're so worried about other shit. We don't even care. It's Jeff Jarrett versus Hangman Adam Page in a lumberjack strap match. Uh, Whatever. Here's the thing, too, Meelz. I feel like they're running Swerve back again. Him and Swerve. I feel like they're gonna run it back again.
I mean, probably. So Wrestle Dream is happening in less than a month. By the way, it's on October 12th. So along with this 5th anniversary show that they're coming out of nowhere. I feel like they're really starting to understand. It's like, well, damn, we got a show every fucking month. We should book better. We should do some other shit. But with it's Swerve's hometown, so I'm assuming he has to do something on that show. But it's also been announced that Prince Nana is going to give an update on Swerve this week, so I'm assuming we'll see him very, very shortly.
What is the update? What is the update? Unless he actually gave him some heroin, what is the update that is necessary for Swerve right now? Yeah,
Survived.
he listen. I have seen people go through the worst things in AEW than what Swerve did, and they're back the next week. I would say the only thing that was kind of off the wall for them on that show was what happened to what happened to Bryan Danielson. Like that was kind of crazy for AEW, you know, for their measures. That was kind of
Yeah.
wild. But all you got was like a like some Novocaine in your mouth, brother. What's going on?
How are you? What's your level of excitement for NXT next week?
Uh, Listen, they were promoting the shit out of it at Raw yesterday.
Mm.
They were promoting the hell out of it. I'm pretty excited. This is going to be a big deal. Um, I guess we could kind of run through it next week, like the day of, since it would be happening then. But I expect surprises. I expect some really cool shit.
No, for sure. I mean, I think we should. I don't know. I think we should run it this because technically next week the free show will have happened and people will have heard it, or people will watch us trying to predict it when the show will already have happened.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. All right, let's go to CW. Let's go
Yeah,
there. Sorry,
NXT.
War Report.
That'll be fun. What's the NXT on CW premiere show?
I mean, I mean, the broad strokes of it is that it's kind of the to me going to be the coordination of Trick Williams to be the face of the brand on CW in the first couple months, and
Hmm.
and Julia versus Roxanne, which I think is another match that's kind of up in the air, in a lot of ways, right? Like it's you know, I don't think Julia should win this match.
Mm. I Yeah, I don't think she's as connected to any. She hasn't had the time to connect with the crowd. This is a pretty big match for the second match that she's having. So I don't know if they'll. I don't think this is a situation kind of like Ethan Page where they can kind of pull this off. I think Julia definitely needs more time. I think by the end of the year, maybe even top of next year, top of like if New Year's Evil, for instance, I could see it happening,
Yeah.
or probably even sooner than I guess even sooner than that.
She needs to wrestle more people there. She needs to kind of build everything up. I think she's magnetic as a personality, but if we know HBK, I think that it'll go that way, and that they're going to do the long kind of long burn. Like look at what they did with Trick Williams. He lost the title 3 months ago, and
Mhm.
they waited this long to put him back in that position. And I feel like they've built Trick up significantly since then, right? Like everyone was really upset about it, and then it started to make sense because he's actually been having some really good matches lately.
It's that Pete Dunne. You got the Pete Dunne special.
Yeah,
You
I
know what I'm
mean,
saying?
Pete Dunne is a kingmaker. You know what I mean? In a lot of ways, for those guys, like he's a
He's
kingmaker.
done it a lot. He's done it even more than recently. You think of like Riddle, you think of like a couple other people back in the day, Undisputed Era, a lot of different people, even his own tag team partner Tyler Bate. Like a lot of people have benefited from being in the ring with Pete Dunne and working with him. So yeah, he's definitely a kingmaker. This week on NXT, they're doing a press conference,
Yeah,
which will feature
all of them.
all of them.
Trick, Ethan Page. I mean, you want to talk about somebody that's maximized the opportunity in ways that never thought possible. This guy, Ethan Page, is he's up there, Bubba. He's ready.
He got his CVV interview this week. He's like, listen, man, they weren't using me correctly over there. So I had to go over here. And look at how I'm shining. You see my outfit. You see
He,
my championship. You see my glasses.
he's a star, bro. He's a star, and it's hard not to think that there was some semblance of a fumble there because I was never impressed with the guy, and now I see what's up. You know what I
I
mean? Like,
see. I always saw conviction with the things that he was saying. Like even when he was with it was Men of the Year. I felt like though the promos were very very strong in delivering those that were different from a lot of people there. And it wasn't necessarily he didn't go into the whole like I'm trying to be completely an edge lord and try to undercut people with like dirt sheet information and stuff like that. Like, no, he kept it within the confines of the actual character itself. And that's usually where it came in. I was kind of surprised. They had that other old white dude that was with them.
AEW got a lot of old white dudes.
But it was that guy who pissed everyone off.
Kendrick?
No. Hold on. Men of the Year, AEW. Let me see. It was, and they were part of
Quan
fuck.
would know. Quan would know. Quan's probably
It's something Lambert. Something Lambert.
who cares? Keep going, keep going. Who cares?
Dan Lambert.
Okay, no what?
So yeah, you pissed him off, but yeah, still, it's a he's growing. He's in a different opportunity. It's looking good. It's looking fire. So shout out to him. Um, while we are, let's see, hold on, let me
Let
check if they.
I want to get to Roman Cody on the free show because I don't want people to miss our thoughts on that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so and you'll get my whole thoughts on Raw and the whole thing on Patreon because we're going to review the show there. But last week, Cody and Roman they sat down and had a brouhaha in the middle of a fucking stadium in Georgia, which I thought Cody was off the show on SmackDown. I didn't know he was there. I expected them to do that and him to not just to be their interaction on the show. He was actually fucking there, which was crazy.
He's
Um,
he be there, bro.
yeah,
He not part time yet. He not big time yet for
he said,
sure.
I don't got no choice, nigga. But really, Mills, what were your thoughts on this whole cinematic thing? They've never really done anything like this. You would have thought these motherfuckers were about to wrestle at Bad Blood, though, that like how hyped up this was, and I think before you start, like I think this speaks to the overall. I don't want to say how could I describe, like it speaks to like kind of the overall lackingness of the Bloodline 2.0, if that makes sense, where like these two feel like the most important things in this match, and the guys they're fighting are not really to that level. And I think that that's probably a lot of people's main issues with these two teaming up is that they're facing off with essentially like you can push these guys all you want, but they still feel like fucking milkmen in a way. Like they pale in comparison to the OGs.
They are. I'll say this about the thing. I thought this was considering how many times they played over the last couple days.
Yeah.
Um, to me, the while the purpose of this is clearly these are two guys, these are top stars, these are gentlemen. I also feel like this was produced to connect with people who may not be into wrestling in a real way. Um, because just based on how it was shot, the soundtrack to it, WWE's, I mean, typically in the backstage promos, vignettes, there's not a lot of accents to it that this had. And I'm talking about like the music, the other thing. Like this was built like an actual scene out of a movie. They truly decided to make this cinematic in a lot of different ways. And I thought they hit it right out of the park because we love kind of different ways to be able to kind of present wrestling. And I think that's what the pandemic era really showed us is that there's more than one way to really present this, more than just in a ring, more than just this. You can do a whole pre-tape and have it kind of look like this. I thought it was amazing. I think Roman showing up the way he showed up, but then also kind of like there's a little bit part of him that does seem stripped of
Mhm.
like everything that he kind of have. I mean, he didn't show up wearing like the whole bloodline thing. And like, he's not trying to fully, he can't be back there because that's not who he is anymore. And my big thing was a lot of people have said, or a lot of people, I heard people saying that this is forced or this doesn't make sense or something along those lines. And I'm like, I don't understand how you don't, first of all, Solo and Jacob challenged them with the idea that they wouldn't be able to work with one another despite of
Yeah.
how big they are.
Yeah.
So this wasn't that they immediately came together on their own accord. They were challenged, and to be able to get this, they have to work together to be able to get there. Now, this promo kind of like, it doesn't feel like the summary of everything that happened, but it definitely feels like we're heading into the next part of whatever is happening.
Mhm.
Um, because there's a lot of callbacks with their conversation on, you're a man without an island, and you're this, that, and
Right.
the
I mean,
third.
Cody called it. I think the strongest part of this segment, this movie, is that Cody called all of this. He said it back in a year ago, 2 years ago, almost. Right? Like he's going to be a tribe without a chief. You know what I mean? And everything and every road has led him right back to his biggest nemesis. I've seen a lot of people talk about who is Roman's biggest nemesis in wrestling, and everyone's like it's Brock, and I'm like I feel like the H era is trying to make it abundantly clear, Meelz, that it is for sure going to be Cody that is his biggest nemesis. Like
Yeah,
that's what it felt like on this. That's what it's been feeling like. To me, it makes the most sense, I think, because with Brock and Roman, and that always felt like a I'm the big dog. You like a nigga that's trying to take my spot. You know what
right.
I mean? And he finally took the spot. But Cody and Roman feels like they're on the same level almost. And like people want to, they're gonna be mad about this, but I'm like, no, this is really the Rock Stone Cold for like this generation. You know what I'm saying? Like this is this generation's version of that. The charisma, everything. Like that whole segment is electric. And what I liked about it is what you brought up earlier. Roman feels stripped. He know, and we talked about it last week on the show on SmackDown. He was using all the old taglines, all everything, and Cody came out and said, "Hold on, bro, you can't say that no more. This is different. It's a new block. I'm on this block now. This not your block no more. You got to work for it." And I think that the disillusionment that Roman is gonna face, having to be like, oh shit, like I'm not that nigga no more. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta reckon with that. It's gonna be something interesting and dope if they choose to go that way with that character. Now my thing is this: I feel like I'm tired of seeing Roman fight bloodline adjacent or bloodline enemies. I really would love him to face somebody new in this new iteration, in this new character. I think
Mhm.
I think it is time for him to start facing new people. I think it is time for him to start giving guys the rub. Like, how dope would it be if Carmelo Hayes got to look like that? You know what I'm saying? And
He's
he
just
got
not on the show enough. That's really the main thing, is that you don't even have time to be able to make it make sense or put it together,
Mhm.
because he's not even on. He's like, how often do you think Roman is going to be here for like the rest of the year?
I would imagine that the next he will probably be on it if it's what, how many weeks to Survivor Series? 8, 9.
Yeah.
I would imagine he's probably on 50% of those shows for sure.
Okay.
50%.
Because
He honestly might even wrestle on one of these SmackDowns. I would not hold it past him. And then Saturday Night's main event will probably be on it too.
he's truly the specter. Like, even when the show doesn't feature him, the show is about him.
Yeah.
That's really what the bloodline is. The bloodline is still about Roman Reigns. It's just telling it from a different perspective now, and showing Roman in a different perspective. But
He's
I
he's he's huddled. He's huddled, and there's no getting around the fact that like he has nothing. You know what I mean? And that was a story that they were attempting to tell. I, you know, not to even bring up the amazing camera work and the way that it was presented and the song and everything. Like it felt big, like a big deal. It felt like Batman and Superman having a conversation.
right.
You know what I mean? It felt like two superheroes, larger than life, talking to each other. And
And that's really, that's what I feel like they wanted to accomplish by translating to different people. Because not only this is on WWE's thing, it's on ESPN's page. I'm sure it's been shown various other places. Like, this is something where I feel like it's a dope entryway. Like, if you haven't watched wrestling since WrestleMania, you can tap back in and you're like, oh, this is what they're doing now? Okay.
yeah,
This is the
yeah.
next part of the story? Okay. You know?
It feels like some real deal type shit. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I think that it works on the level that we didn't expect something like this to happen. And I think so. Like, this is a new twist, which I appreciate. It's a new twist in the story. I appreciate that. But I still want to see
them face some actual adversity because Roman one on five these niggas a couple weeks ago. Cody's 1-on-5 them before.
Yeah, but they beat him up before. That's why he was off for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They beat Roman up. They're like, all right, we beat Roman up. They beat him just because Fatu's there. So it's like it's clear they're positioning Jacob Fatu as like the guy,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
difference maker.
Absolutely. And I thought that again, this worked for me. I don't get the people who say that it was overproduced or it had too much going for it. I'm like, this is what they're trying to present. They're trying to present an angle that we are bigger than entertainment, right? We're the big dogs right now, and this is how we want to present our show. And I thought that it worked well for me within that cadence.
I agree. No, this was a one of the best promos of the year. I think if you want that kind of like different style of promo, this is too big or magnanimous for you. Look at CM Punk's promos. You know what I'm saying? Uh, you got options. WWE is going to give you it all. If you don't like these kind of promos on the big lights, these Friday night lights, if I might say so myself, um, then go to Monday Night Raw, and
I'm,
Drew and CM Punk are doing some great stuff over there too.
I'm gonna tell you what, you're in my way in life got such a huge pop in the in,
Mm.
the- in the arena last night, and I was
It's like
like,
he acknowledged Cody.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like he was just like, yo, like, fine. But why would they cheer that? Because that's like Rome. Like that's not like. I think people are thinking of that line heroically when it's really Roman at his most vulnerable, right? Like that line
Yeah.
isn't meant to be like a gotcha. That line's not a gotcha.
No.
That line is like you beat me and it's eating me, it's eating at me, and you're in
Right.
my way. And the only way that I can like begin that road to get back to it is I got a team with you. Like you're in my way in all facets of my life. You're in my way in that I didn't beat you. You embarrassed me in April. And you're in my life is that the person that embarrassed me I have to team up with. Like people, they popped, and I was like, I don't think they understand. Like that's not like a diss line. That's like he's legitimately affected by this, and I thought that worked so
Absolutely.
well.
Absolutely. For sure. So I'm looking forward to Bad Blood because Bad Blood, this card is crazy. This card is insane, man.
Cracked. It's
Like,
cracked. It's truly cracked, and it's. I mean, we're a week away. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely going to be one of the strongest cards of the year. It's giving me Mania like Part 3 vibes. If SummerSlam was Mania Part 2, it's giving me those vibes. And I was sure to say, Meelz, this is probably a stronger card than SummerSlam was.
yeah, I would say so for sure. I'm not sure if they're gonna add another match. We're at the 5 mark, but I think they could and get away with it, but we'll see
the
what happens.
the matches we have are going to be long enough, and they've added some new stuff.
But also they're starting early and trying to end early because of the UFC event, so there probably won't be another match added.
Oh yeah, that is true. That is true. But we'll be talking about that next week and everything that happens right before the NXT debut on the CW and everything else that's happened. We'll probably talk about the fallout from AEW Grand Slam. I'll probably be checking out the first show. I never watched Collision, but make sure you tune in to us next week. We're going to have a prediction show. It's going to be free for everyone, and we're going to be talking about everything that has to do with Raps. So thank you guys for listening on the free version. If you want to hear about my experience at Raw and meeting all the superstars there for that Netflix event, make sure you check out the Patreon, and we'll see you next week. For Meelz, I'm Justin. Peace.